If you're brand new to real estate sales, I'm going to take a wild guess here and say you probably got into real estate because you want to make money. But how? There are so many gurus and instructors and everything out there telling you exactly how to make your first $100,000 in real estate. But in this video, I'm going to give you the 5 simple steps that you need to take in order to make 6 figures your very first year as a realtor. What's up everyone? Welcome back to another video. For those of you who are new to my channel, my name is Danny Gould. I'm the CEO of the Selling Silicon Valley Group. Last year, our team did a little over $30 million in production. And this year, we are well on pace to exceed $75 million in real estate sales in 2021. I'm very excited for the growth of my team, but my very first year in real estate, I didn't have a team. I was just on my own. And in my first year as a real estate agent, I did a little over $150,000 in gross commissions earned. And so in this video, I want to share with you the 5 executable, very simple steps that you should be taking in your very first year as a real estate agent to ensure that you make over 6 figures. Now, before we get too far into the video and talking about the 5 simple steps, I wanted to share with you guys just how difficult my first 3 months were in real estate. When I got into real estate at the end of 2014, I had very high ambitions for my very first year as a real estate salesperson. I was convinced that I was going to make over $1 million in my very first year in real estate. And boy, was I wrong. I made so many mistakes those first 90 days. I did basically every mistake that you could make in the book. And at the end of those 90 days, I had $0 to show for it and practically 0 clients. I was spinning my wheels and not getting anywhere close to where I wanted to be. And I was really in a place where I felt like I was stuck in neutral. At the end of my first 90 days as a real estate agent, I actually got an offer from a local tech startup. They had, the CEO had met me at an open house and he was like, "Hey, I think you're a great salesperson. You should be our CMO and just do all the marketing for us and all the sales, and we're gonna do this and that and all these things." And when I was sitting there talking to him, I was like, "Oh my God, like this sounds like such a great opportunity." The salary was amazing. Like it was a 6-figure salary. And I was really just like contemplating whether or not that's what I wanted to do. And it was really, really tempting to take that 6-figure salary because I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it as a real estate agent. And when I decided that I wasn't going to go for that, I was this close to taking that job opportunity. But at the end of the day, I had to look myself in the mirror and realize that what I wanted out of real estate, I could never get out of working at a job like that. I wanted to be my own boss. I'd always wanted to build my own business, and I didn't want to just give in that easily and throw in the towel. And so my first 90 days in real estate, I had nothing to show for it. In the last 9 months, I was able to completely turn it around, do over 150 in GCI in just those 9 short months. And what I want to share with you today are the 5 simple rules that I have for any real estate agent getting into the business that wants to achieve that 6-figure income right away. It's not impossible. It's very doable, but you got to follow these 5 simple rules. So let's get into it. Rule number 1 is very easy, but difficult at the same time. And that is you have to show up every single day. We're coming out of COVID right now. People are going back to the office. And if you're just getting into real estate, you should be taking advantage of the office that you're in. Show up and learn. Absorb the energy and absorb all of the things that are going on within that office. Real estate, like any other business, requires a huge amount of activation energy in order for you to kickstart your business and in order for you to kickstart your career. And one of the biggest hurdles in that activation energy is showing up. You see, if you don't show up, you're not going to learn. If you don't show up, you're not going to put yourself in the optimal position to take advantage of all of the opportunities that are presented to you. When I got started in real estate, there were really no free resources available to me except for Tom Ferry's YouTube channel. Nowadays, you have literally hundreds, if not thousands, of Facebook groups, of free online coaching. I mean, there are so many different resources that you could be taking advantage of as a new agent. And so it's not just like going into the office, but it's also seeking out all of the knowledge and going out there and really learning and soaking it all up like a sponge, because all all of that information that you're going to learn is going to pay dividends later on down the line. You are not going to get there by just winging it. You have to learn from other people. You have to take that knowledge and you have to deploy it. Speaking of free online resources, if you're a brand new agent, you should be checking out our weekly Mastermind call. You can check out the link down in the description box below. Sign up for it, and it's a free half-hour training every single week with me on a live Zoom call. You can ask me any questions that you want, so make sure you sign up down below to take advantage of our free weekly trainings. Showing up every day is absolutely critical to your success. My first 90 days in real estate, I don't think I took a single day off. Now, I don't know if I would necessarily 100% recommend that, but you should definitely be willing to put in the work up front to learn all of the things that you need to learn and to soak in all of the things that you need to soak in order to expedite your growth. All right, now it's time for simple rule number 2. And this is going to be a little bit more difficult for some of you than others. And that's you have to learn your prospecting and your appointment scripts within your very first 30 days. You have to commit to doing that within your very first 30 days as a real estate agent. As an actor, for me, it was always very easy to learn scripts. And so for me, this was not something that was super difficult. But for people that have never acted in their lives or have never really had to memorize a script before, this can be a very difficult thing to do. And so my biggest suggestion for all of you out there is, regardless of what scripting you're using or dialogues that you're using, make sure that you figure out, A, are you a visual learner or are you an audio learner? If you're a visual learner, you should have the scripts written out and look at them 3 to 4 times a day minimum. Like when you wake up, you look at them, you read them out loud. When you're at lunch, you look at them, you read them out loud. When you are actually doing your calls or when you're talking to people or when you're role playing, you have it in front of you, right? Don't make it harder on yourself. Use the cheat sheet. And then before you go to bed, you look at it and you read it out loud and you put it away. If you're an audio learner like me, you're going to take those same scripts, you're going to speak them into your voice memo app on your phone, and then you're going to listen to it repeatedly and repeatedly and repeatedly. I can't tell you how many voice memos I have saved up, and my team members, they don't believe me at first, right? But then I'll go back to 2015, 2014, and I'll show them all the voice memos that I recorded as a young real estate agent, just listening to the scripts over and over and over and over and over again. I know some of you are sitting at home right now and you're thinking, I don't want to do scripts. I don't want to sound scripted. And that's exactly the point of scripts, is so that you don't sound scripted. And not only that, but that you know what you're talking about, that you sound like you know what you're talking about. The point of dialogues and the point of scripts is not to sell the client. It's for you to be able to hear the client. If you're talking to someone and you are constantly thinking about what you're going to say next, how are you going to be able to listen to the person that you're talking to? Let me break it down to you very easily. If you aren't listening to your client, you are never going to be able to help them. If you're always thinking about, well, what should I say next? What should I say next? So let's just take all the thinking out of it. Learn the proper scripting, dialoguing, and objection handling, so that you can listen to the client and figure out, hey, is this the right move for them? Ultimately, sometimes the scripting and the dialoguing helps us get closer to a no as opposed to a yes. We're not always trying to get the client to say yes. That's not the point of scripting and dialoguing. The point of scripting and dialoguing is for you to be able to listen to the client effectively. That's it. And if you're looking for effective scripts and dialoguing, you can always log into our weekly mastermind calls and ask whatever questions you have. But I never give away any scripts or dialogues in written form. The reason why is because if you don't write them down yourself, you are never going to learn them. So you can hop on the weekly mastermind call. You can ask me, hey, what kind of script do you do for this or for that? And I'll give it to you, but I'm going to make you sit there and I'm going to make you write it out by hand, because that's the only way that you're going to learn. So my third simple rule for all of you first-year real estate agents out there looking to make 6 figures in your first year is to focus on appointment setting, not on lead generation. There are too many coaches out there that talk about contacts. You got to make 50 contacts a day. You got to make 100 contacts a day. You got to make 200 contacts a day. I like to call that contactitis. There is no reason why you should be focusing on contacts. If you're a great closer and you're great with people, if you talk to 200 people a day, you're going to be setting appointments with 150 of them, which is just not possible. impossible, right? So what you want to be able to do is not focus on contacts. And by that same token, is not focus on how many leads you've generated. A team leader should be focused on how many leads have I generated for my team. But the individual agents should always be focused on the most important lead metric of all, which is how many appointments have you set and how many appointments have you met. If you can focus on setting and going on appointments and not on lead generation, your business will transform, not just by a little bit, but by a lot, because you'll be focused on the one thing that drives sales, which is appointments, meeting with someone either via Zoom or in person. Now, there is a big difference between doing a buyer consult and showing a buyer a home. Do not fall into the mistake that most real estate agents make, which is when they get a buyer lead, the first thing they do is go show them houses without ever qualifying them on the phone or without ever qualifying them through a buyer interview. And I call it a buyer interview, not a buyer consult, right? So I say buyer consult, but really it's a buyer interview because you are interviewing them. They are not interviewing you. You, as the real estate agent, you are the professional. You have to interview them and you have to figure out whether or not they're going to be worth your time, not the other way around. So you got to do that interview. And again, if you're looking for the right way to structure your buyer interview, you can hop onto our weekly mastermind calls and ask me how to structure the buyer interview. And I'll go through the structure very simply for you. It's not difficult. But again, when you're looking at that buyer interview and you're trying to figure out whether or not this is a good buyer for you, that is where you establish how you're going to be working for them and then what you expect from them in return. Got it? Good. All right, so that leads us to simple rule number 4, which is focus on short-term nurture lead sources. What do I mean by that? I think a lot of real estate agents get into the business and the first thing they start doing is geographic farming. It is something that most real estate agents are conditioned to do. And by all means, you should be farming. But when you first start out in real estate, you should be finding quick ways to stockpile cash so that you can use that cash as a means to geographically farm yourself. But the very first thing that you should be doing is focused on short-term nurture lead sources. What do I mean by that? Open houses. Open houses are a phenomenal way to meet buyers who are looking to make a purchasing decision within the next 1 to 3 months. And there is a little bonus here too. There are a lot of neighbors that come through that are thinking about selling their home in like the next 3 to 6 months. And so you're going to find buyers that are really low hanging fruit. They're ripe. They're ready to go. You're going to find sellers who are fairly low hanging fruit that are ripe and ready to do business with you. So open houses, phenomenal way, especially now that we're out of COVID, great way to meet people that are within days or weeks of making a purchasing or selling decision. Now, back to simple rule number 3, which is focusing on appointment setting and not lead generation. When you're at an open house, do not, for the love of God, have a sign-in sheet and a sign-in sheet only. Your sign-in sheet should not be what you're focused on people doing. You shouldn't be coming in and the first thing that you say is like, please sign in. Do not be that agent. First of all, they're going to give you fake information. You do it too. When you walk in somewhere and they ask you to sign in, you either say, no, thank you, or you give bad information. They are going to do the same thing. So do not make the mistake that most real estate agents make, which is let's just try and generate leads from this open house. Absolutely not. You should be deploying effective dialogue to set appointments with buyers and sellers at the open house. Great agents can do it, and so can you. You just have to know the scripts. And again, if you want to know the scripts, you can hop on the weekly mastermind calls. We can go over all the scripting that you want and go over it line by line in terms of converting open house buyers. It's not difficult at all. You just have to frame it in the right way so that they come and meet with you either in Zoom, on Zoom, or in person. If open houses aren't your thing or you prefer the phone, another great way of generating low-hanging fruit business are expired listings. Now, the big difference between expired listings and open houses is that expired, you're really going after the people that have had bad experiences with real estate agents in the past. And that can lead to a plethora of objections that you normally wouldn't get. I love expired listings. That's how I started listing property in the area was through expired listings. I have a lot of experience with expireds, but the biggest downfall or the biggest downside that I see to expireds is that you will, as a new agent, naturally have way less to offer an expired listing. The people that get a lot of expireds are the ones that have been doing expired listings for a long time and that have been selling real estate for a long time. So you are gonna have to take way more at bats as a new agent to secure an expired listing. I'm not saying that it's impossible. I did it many, many times as a young 23, 24-year-old in real estate, securing 6% expired listings. But I'm gonna tell you, it is not for the faint of heart. So if you have a difficult time dealing with rejection, or you are not that great with your scripting, or you're a bad objection handler, you are going to get mauled, like straight up. You're going to get destroyed. So make sure that if you're doing expireds, that you brush up that skill to the point where you are confident that you can at least set one appointment every day or so, because you're going to need that many at bats in order to make a six-figure income in your very first year. Open houses, expired listings, those are two things that take very little money. The next lead source that I'm going to recommend does take some upfront investment, which is online lead generation, specifically Zillow or Realtor.com. These sites have proven themselves to generate higher quality leads for real estate agents. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate for talking about Zillow and for talking about Realtor.com because these are sites that are supposedly interfering with or disrupting our industry. And not only that, there are a lot of real estate agents who have nothing but bad things to say about Zillow and Realtor.com leads because they are low quality leads. That is not the case. If you work them correctly and you try and set the appointment with them, like I said before, at the beginning, you go through the appointment and then you start working with them, you won't be running around town showing unqualified buyers' homes. That's the biggest issue with Zillow leads and Realtor.com leads, is that a lot of the buyers that call in on these lead sources are unqualified. But my conversion rate, my very first year as an agent on Zillow leads was over 10%. That's right. I had 90 something leads from Zillow my very first year, Zillow and Trulia combined. And from those 90 something leads, I closed 9 buyers. So, 10% conversion rate is pretty damn good. I don't know what other lead source you could find that's going to give you that type of conversion rate. And now we have simple rule number 5. When I first got into real estate, I told myself that I was not going to join a team. I wanted to do it all on my own. And for the first 90 days, I had 0 sales to my name. Around that 90-day mark, I got a call from one of the agents at my office. Her name was Lynn, and she said that she was looking to hire someone for her team and that the office manager had recommended me. I thought about it, and eventually, after meeting with her and kind of going through what she had in mind, I decided to join. And I can tell you that that was probably the best decision that I made in my entire first year in real estate. It gave me so many more opportunities to work with buyers and sellers than I would have had if I had tried to do it all on my own. And so my 5th simple rule would be to highly consider joining a team. And the reason why joining a team is so powerful is if you join the right team, they should have 4 things for you. They should have systems. They should have accountability. They should have training. And finally, they should have great lead generation. Those 4 things are really going to help you thrive in your very first year in real estate. Who cares how you make the money if it's on the team or on your own? I would highly recommend that for anyone starting out in this business that you seek out a team, because they're going to provide you with so much more than any broker could. Brokers don't do anything for their agents anymore. It's just a fact. Brokerages do not have the capability to offer what most elite level teams can offer. And by the way, you shouldn't just join a team to join a team. You should really do your research and figure out whether or not you are going to get what you need out of that team. You should be asking the right questions, know what to ask. And you can hop on those weekly mastermind calls and ask me hey, which team do you know in this area? Because I know a lot of great team leaders all over the country. Or if I don't, then I can definitely give you some pointers as to how to find the right team, because finding the right team is very important, critical to your success as a new agent. Now, if you're not on a team, I don't want to just leave you hanging and not give you a 5th simple rule. If you're not on a team, once you make your first commission or your second commission check, you should be investing some of that money into a great coach, someone that's going to be able to fill in the voids in your knowledge and fill in the voids in your experience and your talents. Don't find someone that's just like you. Find someone that's going to help fill in some of the weaknesses and the gaps that you have as an agent and make you a more strong and versatile agent. Because ultimately, coaching can provide you with so many different things. What I look for in a coach is how can we bring up, fill in some of those voids in my talents, in my skill set, so that I can become the best possible version of myself and the best possible real estate agent that I can possibly be. So if you're not going to join a team, you should definitely be seeking out coaching that's going to provide you at least with the accountability and the training that a great real estate team would be able to offer you. All right, everyone, that's all I got for you today. If you've been watching this video up until this point and you're still watching, what are you waiting for? Click that subscribe button down below and click the little notification bell. And if you want to really help me out, you can click that like button as well. And if you want more new agent training videos, you can check out this playlist right here, or you can check out our New Agent Weekly Mastermind. Link is in the description below, everyone. This is Danny Gould, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. I'll catch all of you in the next video.